Welcome to India's cleanest and most hygienic tomato ketchup factory, where the welcome ceremony begins with rotten, spoiled, foul-smelling tomatoes that smell like they already know their future. First, these tomatoes are dumped into a giant tub filled with premium Ganges water, and just to be extra hygienic, an additional layer of Ganges bacteria is generously added on top. After that, the tomatoes are taken out and thrown into a boiler to boil, covered with a thin polythene sheet like it's some luxury treatment, and the boiler is switched on. Once fully boiled, here's the best part. These tomatoes are not peeled. The green part on top is not removed. Nothing is cleaned. Nothing is trimmed. They are taken as is, straight from trauma to processing. Then, using buckets, the tomatoes are poured into a paste-making machine, where they turn into a thick tomato puree that looks less like food and more like wet construction mud. And now begins the real ketchup-making process. The puree is poured into a massive boiling container where more Ganges water is added and mixing officially begins. Then spices are taken, mixed with water, and dumped straight into the boiling tank. After that comes a mountain of salt, followed by a serious sugar overdose, and the boiler is turned on again. Slowly, the mixture thickens, and congratulations, the ketchup is ready. Finally, it's poured into bottles, sealed, and sent straight to the market. And once you eat this ketchup, your stomach starts a protest, and your bathroom calls an emergency meeting you cannot cancel.
Oh, that's got all my stink of the day in it. That's nasty.
Today, we visit the most unique and most hygienic handmade candy factory. The ritual begins with the chef's bathwater. He plunges his entire arm into water, repeatedly consecrated by downstream urban civilization. Next, this sanctified liquid is ceremoniously poured into a pot that, after completing its mission last century, cut all ties with soap, solely to preserve the vintage character customers value most. Once the fire is lit, he mixes elbow secretions with caustic soda, industrial powders, and a selection of ingredients no one is willing to name. Then the stirring begins. The entire process takes place in a perfectly sterile environment. The floor has passed the spiritual certification of the World Health Organization, also known as the World Filth Organization. Now comes the final step. The finishing seasoning is added, armpit mineral salt. Then the chef goes in barefoot, the soles of his feet making direct contact with the sugar mass, completing the final data synchronization. Every stomp is an irreversible signature, pressing dust, fungi, and the maker's entire emotional state for the day evenly into the structure. Export-grade crystal candy is born. Natural ingredients, free-range process, a fully liberated concept of hygiene. After simple filtration, it's ready to serve. Perfect with morning coffee and a high-intensity gastrointestinal adventure.
My name is Aryan Kumar. ये Aryan Kumar का कौन खाला है? Take more beer.
What the hell is even that?
Today we're visiting India's officially certified export-grade, high-hygiene pasta factory. The ritual begins with sanitization. The chief engineer steps in, a rusted screwdriver in one hand, 10 air-dried, manicure-free, organic fingernails in the other. No alcohol is used. Faith works better than disinfectant. Next, the dough is shoved into a machine coated in fossil-grade grease and decades of oxidation. That surface layer? A slow-release iron coating, built for the world's anemic. One bite, instant supplements. The noodles begin to fall. No protective gear, because hands are humanity's oldest food-grade tools. The worker calibrates texture with body heat, seals in flavor with sweat. Once cut, the pasta is sent to the VIP solar drying area, the rooftop. Here, the noodles are exposed to the urban breeze so they can absorb dust and airborne particles from the environment, which guarantees that signature industrial smoky flavor. After sun exposure is complete, the product officially enters the ground phase. Cutting is carried out surrounded by bare feet. Soles provide traction. Foot odor provides flavor. Foot fungus counts as a natural additive. If, when you cook it at home, the water starts to glow slightly, don't panic. That's not contamination. It's civilization and bacteria saluting you together. Enjoy your meal, and good luck surviving it.
खावानी के पास और मीडियम का दिखी अब आप पहला दिखी ले लियो हाँ सर हाँ बिया दिखी रख मीडियम तुम्हारी हाँ भाई ताई बिया दिखी रख मीडियम हाँ दिखी है जल्दी
આને ઉપાડવાની
हाँ हमने ऊपर वजन दिखा
આ કેટલા વજનની છે
500 ગ્રામ ऊपर
300 ગ્રામ ઉપરના વજનની છે બ્રેડ ભાઈ ખાલી 40 રૂપિયાની બટકું કેમ ભરવું એ વિચાર કરવો પડે છે હા 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 પેટે ન ભરાય.
May God have mercy on your soul.
Welcome to this luxury, sterile, high-end dessert workshop. Here, bacteria have already achieved industrial-scale management, which is why today's product is reserved exclusively for high-end consumers. The ritual starts with a cake base aged in old newspapers, where ink absorbs the leftover debris of human civilization, basic social conditioning before entering the real world. Next, he slices the cake with a serrated knife of unknown origin, stripping away its worldly shell. Then blessed with Ganges water that seeps into the cuts, achieving perfect spiritual and hygienic fusion. Cream is spread not for flavor, but to seal contamination in place, followed by a radioactive orange liquid bright enough to function as a warning label. The workstation, a calm-looking green marble slab, is actually a self-governing microbial community, where the pineapple is sliced and immediately granted local residency. The master assembles the cake with his bare hands, pressing, sealing, binding. Fingerprints remain clearly visible. Not a mistake, but an author's signature. The frosting stage resembles painting over a wall that will never stop molding. The problems are covered, but never resolved. Final decoration. Orange jam spirals into a dangerous pattern. Chemical sugar sprinkles fall. Industrial cardboard is used to conceal the truth. The product is finished. Fingerprint cake. A dessert that begins testing your immune system's loyalty before you even swallow.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer. Every night, I can feel my leg, my arm, even my fingers won't stop hurting.
Welcome to a street food scene in India, where chicken brings the flavor and bacteria handle the presentation. On the cutting board sits the fried chicken ambassador. He adds a symbolic pinch of salt, then uses the same water that just finished a bacteria shift to start today's microbial production line. Next to him is his top disciple, in charge of mixing and blending different batches of bacteria. The ambassador adds mystery powder and clumps that barely qualify as batter. Wrapped in bacteria and unknown microbes, everything gets violently thrown into the pot. The disciple steps back in. Chicken coated in batter and bacteria is lifted, slammed down, and shaken hard. Full microbial redistribution. Excess batter is scraped off his hands and sent straight back into the pot with fingerprints, grease, and resident bacteria. This is the second disciple. He handles frying. The bacteria-balanced chicken is casually tossed into the fryer. And yes, that's the same cooking water from earlier, now reused to rinse hands and bacteria together. The chicken comes out crispy and fresh, with an intact bacterial ecosystem, and lands on a plate. Unsold chicken is torn apart and fried again, proving heat isn't for killing bacteria, it's for preserving history. And just like that, the ambassador's dish is done. What do you think of this bacterial symbiosis system? Rate it.
You got some big testicles to pull this off, bro. Because we see this dude every day. I mean, every day.
How long have you lived here?
I've been here a year.
Okay.
You see where I'm coming from?
Right.
I barbecue with this dude. We eat ribs and whatnot and listen to salsa music. You see where I'm coming from?
And you had no indication that there was anything going on?
Bro, not a clue.
Today we are visiting a fine dining restaurant on the streets of India, and the star of the menu is an egg toast that can rival Michelin. The fine dining chef begins by pouring old oil of unknown origin into an ancient iron pan. This pan is an artifact sealed by the smoke of thousands of cooking battles. He then chops chilies on a wooden board whose history is older than he is. The last time this board saw soap was probably in the last century. Next, he cracks the eggs he picked up from the roadside into a steel bowl, whisks them, and pours the mixture into the pan. The egg spreads out and merges with the black grime on the bottom. And that grime is the soul of the dish. Then comes the main star, the house-made butter roll bread. He slices it open, dips it into raw egg, and leaves his fingerprints on every single piece. See the rat in the back? Yes. He's the real chef, just temporarily off duty. Not enough fingerprints? No problem. He adds more when flipping the toast. Now, it's time for fine dining plating. The chef pulls out a medical record sheet he picked from a hospital trash bin. After all, nothing pairs better with eggs than fresh hospital bacteria. He presses the toast by hand to seal the flavor, cuts it into neat squares, and sprinkles mysterious spices that might come from the Himalayas, or from the side of the road. This is a 30-cent egg toast. Try it once and you'll understand. It might be the last meal of your life.
I give it to you. You got me there.
Right.
Today we've arrived at the birthplace of the planet's most legendary drink, the infamous sewer lemonade. The master begins by lifting a bucket of raw sewer essence, complete with the ancient sludge at the bottom, so old it probably holds the very ancestors of modern bacteria. Then comes the soul ingredient, that crystal-clear, nerve-wracking premium Ganges concentrate, rich with faith, history, microbial families, and a list of things you don't want to know. With both bases ready, the master finally begins crafting this epic-level poison. The ice ceremony starts. He snaps a chunk of ice by hand and baptizes it in Ganges water, letting the cube receive the full blessing of the river. Next, he scoops out a spoonful of mystery powder from a plastic container where a whole bacterial family is having a reunion, then adds a handful of suspicious, mysterious white powder. The mixture starts bubbling instantly, like the lost souls of a sewer fighting their way back up. To finish the blend, the master plucks a few blades of grass that survived the drainage cracks and throws them in, calling them natural herbs. He grabs a family heirloom stick and stirs, like he's summoning something that should never wake. Sweat drips from his fingers into the brew, adding a unique, irreversible human flavor. Then the first brave soul steps forward. The master serves him a cup and proudly demonstrates his cleaning method, a quick Ganges rinse. Done. This is the one drink that guarantees you'll find a bathroom within 3 seconds. And if you don't panic. Where you're standing will instantly become one.
और पंडित जी को प्रसाद चढ़ाते हैं, वही प्रसाद बाबा खा रहे हैं। ये
Scroll. So raise up your phone or your coffee cup's rim to the phantom support on a digital whim, where the hype, the refrain, the echo so grand, the loudest clappers in this digital land. Moon bound for sure, yeah, that's the whole plan. Just don't ask whose rocket it is, man. Just don't ask, click.